One of the joys of my life is this show. Not only has it become an iconic queer talk show over the 11 seasons, and as we mentioned so many times, it is the longest running LGBTQ talk shows in Canada history. But it's also because it's the people. I remember every guest, I remember every conversation, every moment that I learned something from an artist or discovered something new about a creative individual. That's what makes this show very special. And I feel very blessed to have this journey and that my team 11 years ago convinced me that we need to do a talk show. And I didn't feel like I was a good talk show host or anything, but they pushed me for it, and I feel that it's enriched my life. And as well, thank you to our viewers for sharing this journey with me. That is a big blessing, and I thank you, and I really, really mean it. Speaking of inspiring, I was very familiar with my guest and her work, but once I dug into her resume and biography in the last few days, I would say color me inspired because there's a lot that she's accomplished in her life. I'm actually not going to do a long intro, but instead bring her on and get chatting. Please help me welcome to the show the iconic and rather humble from our exchanges in the last few days to prep the interview, Lorraine Segato. Welcome to the show, Lorraine.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Learning about a guest, as I said, and prepping an interview is one of my favorite parts of doing this. And I have to say, reading your CV, my mind was blown. Poof, number one. But it was a challenge because I was going, where do I start this interview? There's so much that you've done and happened. Although I gotta say, your resume is so organized that I would love to receive all everybody's bios and resumes in the way you broke it down. It was fantastic to read. So you know what, where I'm gonna start? I'm gonna start with Rise Up.
Sure,
That's where I'm gonna start.
sure.
And if you don't know Rise Up, any of our viewers, you have heard Rise Up, Rise Up. You've heard it somewhere. And I have to say, every time I'm working on a project or production or something, and we're thinking about an uplifting, inspiring song, somebody on the team always ends up saying "Rise Up," and I have to explain to them copyright, and we have to work on all of that. So, where what's the inspiration behind it? What's the story behind it? That specific song, that moment that you wrote that song.
Sure. Well, first of all, I just should say that actually I'm one of five writers on that song
One.
because that song came out of the very first album I was doing with my band, the Parachute Club. And we were collectively trying to come up with songs. We had, when we found out that we had a record, we had four or five songs written already, but we didn't have the whole album. And Rise Up was one of the very last songs that we wrote for that album. It came out of the inspiration for Parachute Club was to be political, obviously, but also an activist in our work, but also to find ways to make celebratory political music, right?
Right.
And so we were always looking to turn a twist either in our grooves or our melodies or whatever to try to make things feel hopeful. So Rise Up itself came out of actually one of the writers, Lynn Fernie. Um, she had done a trip up the west coast of British Columbia. It was very much inspired by sort of a lot of the iconistic sort of I'd say ceremonial things that were by the roadside that really were indigenous and really sort of felt like this thing of spirit, right? So for all of its
Interesting.
empowerment
Okay.
in its lyrics, its sources derived from a lot like the necessity to want to have a kind of spiritual uplift as well, within
I
the
love
meaning
that.
of an empowering song, right?
That adds a layer that makes me even love it more. Cool. Um, did anybody feel while you're producing it, writing it, singing it, that this is gonna be what it became?
I think some of the other band members had that real
Yeah.
feeling, and I have to be really honest because it was like the last song that we did in the record. I I didn't like Rise Up so much until until I heard it finished. And I have to also give credit to Daniel Lanois, because Daniel Lanois, who was our producer for the whole album, who you may know because he went on to, he's like a world-class producer. But what he did is he was the guy that really gave it that signature,
Oh,
ba-dum-bum-ba-dum-bum-bum, that opening line was, he took it from another part in the song and brought it right to the front. And so he created a soundscape for it that really gave it its uplift as well.
there's
And
something about all of the pieces of it working to work together. So yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, speaking of not loving it, but you in 2018 you went back to the song and revisited again and did Rise Up Redo, and directed a 35th anniversary special video,
Yeah.
which I enjoyed, by the way, very very uplifting. Why did you feel like you needed to visit the song at that time? Is it just the 35th anniversary?
Yeah, it was kind of, the feeling, I've over the course of my lifetime heard so very many stories about what Rise Up has meant for many people. Um, And I thought, well, 35 years in, wouldn't it be great if we could figure out a way how to inspire younger activists who are still fighting for the same things that we were fighting
Isn't that crazy?
for, years ago, right? What if we could inspire them, with an empowerment anthem that would also represent them? So the idea was also too that that remake was hopefully going to, in its streams and whatever in the video, and if it generated any kind of money whatsoever, it was going to be going towards the change leaders
Uh-huh.
over at TMU there. Olivia Chow had started the Institute for Change Leaders. And I wanted to just see if we could, send some kind of
Yeah.
energy that way to empower them, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to build up leaders in this world, right?
We'll be talking about that. But first, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come with Lorraine Segato. So don't go anywhere. Hey everyone, we're talking with the lovely Lorraine Segato, and we started talking about activism. Speaking of that, just want to actually touch on this. I love odd synergies, so I found this really cool. You recently were named a recipient of the Inspire Awards Lux Award for the Arts. The award organization, which everybody on the show probably or who's been a regular viewer knows I'm involved and I'm part of, and Rogers is the broadcaster of the annual award ceremony, who broadcasts this show. But congratulations, number one.
Thank you very
Very well
much. I
deserved.
appreciate. Yep.
Oh, pleasure. Also announced is Mayor of Toronto, Olivia Chow, is receiving the Honorary Lifetime Achievement Award. You are a leadership program leader, which was sparked by the opportunity to work with Olivia Chow Institute for Change Leadership. You were also an artistic director and producer of Jack It Up, the Jack Layton election campaign fundraiser, and you also performed at Layton's state funeral. Jack was the first recipient of a posthumous honorary Lifetime Achievement Award. So just looking at it,
Wow.
that's like what a
That
small world.
it's a full circle moment. Well, the other thing too, it's not in the resume, is that I actually played Jack and Olivia's wedding.
You're
And I
kidding.
haven't played many weddings in my life, but I played their wedding
You
because
have
they,
a deep relationship with them. Cool. It's
yeah,
gonna.
well, they used to come and see our band play at the Bamboo a lot when we were on Queen Street, and I think they appreciated our music, and we became friends over
They're
the
awesome.
course of time.
They're
And
awesome. They're awesome. They're awesome people. I mean, they've always been felt like they're part of the community. They've been on magazine covers at magazines that I worked at, different events that they showed up at. So yeah, I could see how they would be gravitating to your music and your art and what you do in the
well, they
community.
always showed up at Pride, didn't they? They showed up at every important moment.
We love people like those. I found it interesting and admirable that you chose to start your CV not with the music stuff, but with this. Lorraine is a versatile social justice activist and artist who is deeply committed to her craft and to advancing art, culture, and innovative thinking. She also is a respected leadership facilitator and coach working with the Great Traits High Performance Program. So let's dive into that. Tell us about the Great Traits High Performance Leadership Program. What does it do? What's your involvement? How long you've been involved? All that sort of stuff.
Right. Okay. Well, I this is kind of interesting because I came to this via um well you may know Mark Tewksbury. He was a an
I had him on
Olympian.
the show, yeah.
Yeah, who came out, which was a big moment for him and for the
Actually,
community.
Mark received also an award at Inspire Awards.
Oh,
So,
did he? Okay, another full circle moment. I have to reach out to him.
uh,
Um, and I had met Mark at a Canada 150 event that I was doing with the Queer Orchestra,
okay.
and he said, I teach this program and I think you'd really, really like it. Why don't you come and be my guest? So I went, I took it because I'm a lifelong learner and I was really excited to learn something new.
Mhm.
And uh, and then he said, I think you'd be really good working with us
Facilitating.
if you feel like it. And I said, at this stage in my life, I thought, yeah, I want to move towards a mentorship piece, and I want to learn more about leadership and I want to know how to grow my own practice, but also to see if what I know, or all the mistakes I made, if I could sort of bring them forward and turn them into wisdom for other people. So then they took me on board, and that was in 2019,
Okay.
right? So that is something I do on the side, and that has been very pleasurable for me. And the whole concept of leadership in this moment in time is particularly interesting to me because I feel like to mobilize now is different than when I would have been younger and trying to figure out how can I affect change, right?
Oh,
How
I
is it
understand
that
that.
I can affect a change? Well, maybe one way I could affect change would be to hopefully give other people like a way of reframing the way they're looking at the world a bit.
I love this. So Mark is involved in that program as well?
Well, this was his program
His
with
program. Oh, how
yeah,
cool.
with Debbie Muir. They created it.
Okay,
It's
they created
24
this.
traits. Yeah,
Beautiful.
it's achiever, leader, and legacy. And we teach it over an 8-week period or a 6-week period, depending.
Such lovely
So
work.
yeah.
Very inspiring. Well, you also received recently, and very well deserved, the Order of Canada. And
Surprise! That was a surprise.
I was going to say, how does it feel to be told you're receiving the Order of Canada?
I tell you how it feels.
Yeah,
All those moments in which you wondered whether what you were doing and what you were suffering through to be an artist, to remain an artist in this country and to do
mm,
that. All of those moments kind of collapse into one where you go, it's a kind of pride around your validation, like a validation, but pride that kind of, it just wells up inside of you and it makes you want to do more, is what it does.
love everything that you just said now, and I almost cried. Sorry. That was beautifully said, and yeah, that's kind of how we feel about the awards and celebrating people is
Sure.
if you have we need to thank people and we need to encourage them and we need to uplift them for the work that they do because in return they go to do more and the whole world wins when we celebrate
Right.
one another. So very glad for that. Also, you've been inducted into 2023 Canada's Walk of Fame, another fantastic honor. So
Yeah.
good,
Well,
awesome.
so here's one thing I want to say about all those beautiful accolades, and I feel grateful really in the deepest part of my heart because to be remembered in any way, shape, or form is a beautiful thing, right?
Mm,
But I also want to say one doesn't like you don't get into wanting to be an artist or a
thank you.
musician or even an activist for that reason because you never know, right? And so if it comes to you, then what it does is it bumps some energy up and it gives you a little bit more juice to go into the world and do more.
I love what you just actually added to that. And I think when we put the first Inspire was on, I was saying something to the team like we don't do what we do for accolades and applause, and then somebody took it and we put it on the evening program under anonymous kind of thing, because I don't think you can do if that's what you're doing, then you're in the wrong space because it's not about
Yeah.
that. It's just it's but it feels really great when you get
It
thanked for
does. It
that.
feels good. But see, because if you do it for any other reason, then you end up feeling resentful that no one's noticing you, right?
uh, along with along with social activism and leadership role, you are also an iconic Canadian musician, songwriter, filmmaker, event producer, and artistic director. So let's dive a bit into the music. Um, when did you discover your love for music?
Well, my love for music began when I was 11, and like many kids who might have felt, and I would say actually many artists I know, but uh, at a certain age, you start to feel your otherness, that you're different in some way, whether it's you're different because you know yourself to be a creator and that will be your vocation, or whether you feel other because of your community, not reflecting in some way who you are inside, right? And so it's for me, it started at 11. And then I knew I wanted to be a songwriter at that
Oh,
age. So
wow.
I took up the guitar and then sort of I wasn't so good at school, I have to say. I was real I was okay in English, but not so good in all the other classes. And I really wanted to become a musician. And I remember I got funneled into a media arts course because my grades were so low. And in that course, I ended up actually studying and specializing in film as my
Oh, wow.
as my major. And so all of those things all fit together for me, like so because for me, what I realized was film was a lot like music. Rhythm, color, timing, emotion, the
Beautiful.
drama of a song.
Yeah.
So they really fit together.
Yeah, no, it's true and true.
Well, I just wanted to explore those things because I thought if I don't
Yeah.
make it in music, I might be able to do it somewhere else. But
But it does mingle. Like I think
yes,
yeah, there's a visuality to being an artist and to writing a song and whatever. I don't know if you know. I mean, I've only in the last 4 years I decided to pursue this passion of writing songs and
great.
performing. Yeah, I'm so green. It's so early on.
I think there's a song in all of us. I really
But
do.
you know, I don't know if I regret that I didn't pursue it earlier and all that because to me it's kind of it combines like we direct magazine covers here and we publish articles and I love the art, so I see that something one of those can translate into another and so on kind of thing.
Always.
Yeah. Um. Uh, a little bit more about your early days. So you fell in love with that, but how did you get into the
Oh,
industry?
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I did go to film school for 3 years, and then
You
I
did.
decided. So I was born in Hamilton, and I went to
Oh
film
wow.
school in Oakville,
Okay.
and because I was coming to Toronto a lot to see theater and dance and all these things that were inspiring to me. I
Uh-huh.
The minute that I finished film school, I moved to Toronto, and that would have been back in 1977, and I came with my little acoustic guitar there and started playing the coffee houses. And
Did you? You did the
yeah,
whole
and
thing? You did the whole
I
scene?
don't think I was really so out back then. I think at one point I felt myself to be bisexual, so I was kind of you know trying to figure out who am I. But I did kind of hook up around feminism with a lot of really inspiring writers and feminists who really sort of allowed me to blossom and mentored me, right? So then I ended up in a band called Mama Kia, which was a seven-piece all-woman rock and roll band that
Okay.
was quite popular at the time in the late 70s. There was another iteration of that before I was in the band,
Okay.
but I came into it as the lead singer, and that's when I strapped on my electric guitar for the first time.
Okay.
And from there, out of there grew another band I was in called V, and then out of there came Parachute Club.
Oh, okay. So that wasn't the first thing that you did. The parachute was after a few things.
No, it was
Right.
the first thing I did was this lesbian feminist band called Mama Kia,
Cool.
and we won an EP through, I think it was Q1, no, CFNY.
Oh,
We
really? Okay.
won this Battle of the Bands thing, and we did an EP called Mama Kia.
Cool.
And then out of there, I started playing with this other band, V, and then out of V morphed Parachute Club. But my partner in Parachute Club, Billy Bryans, he also played in V, and
Oh,
even did a stint as the male drummer in the all feminist band in Mama Kia near the end
nice.
there. So
Yeah. Cool.
so
I
that
love it.
was my
I love
beginning.
learning history of bands and creators. So you had a long-lasting music career with 5 albums with the Parachute Club, including Parachute Club in 1983, and the last one was the Wild Zone Greatest Hits in 1992. You also did some solo CD work that includes Phoenix, Luminous City, Invincible Decency, and Rise Up Redo. Um, what have you learned over the years that you would give advice to somebody who wants to start or starting?
I would say the key learning piece for me has been, I would take it to know yourself. Really, do not be afraid to self-reflect and understand who you are. You don't have to be good at everything you do, but you have to know what you're good at. So you can't like spread yourself around trying to be too much to too many people, which I have done in the
Okay.
past.
Okay, fair
And
enough.
so it was a great learning for me to know, I don't have to be great at everything, but I have to be authentic at what it is I'm trying to do.
Oh, absolutely.
And don't be afraid to dig deep and figure out, here's my shadow side here and here's my good side here. And don't
Yeah.
be afraid to always have child's mind. Curiosity is the thing that will get you through everything.
There you go, artists who are viewing the show. There's a really great
Mhm.
advice. Um, the music industry, and I don't like actually that word at all. Even being new to this industry, I don't like the word industry, has changed since you started.
Sure.
What do you like about it? What don't you like about the change?
Well, truthfully can't say I'm in the music industry at this point because, I haven't released, my last two records were independent records, so I don't really interact with the business part of
Okay.
it.
Okay, good.
Um,
Good.
but the way it's changed predominantly and most importantly is, artists are still not really getting paid for the work that they do. The streaming piece, it's always the record companies that figure out a way to get some money from that, or other businesses that find a way to get the money from that.
It's heartbreaking, honestly. But yeah.
Yeah, it just keeps going on and on. And yet, I always think, what's amazing to me is there's not a person on earth that doesn't have a memory connected to music and the importance of that music in their life,
That's
whether
why I
it's,
love music. Yeah.
I mean, it could be any one single most important memory, right?
To
So,
me, it's one of the greatest arts. I love film. I'm a huge film aficionado and film buff, but and it's very impactful. But songs, because they're shorter stories,
yeah.
they're easy to resonate with you and carry with you for longer. For any moment that something sparks in your head and the song starts, kind of thing.
Right. And you associate your emotional memories with it. The first time you bring someone on a date, the
Yeah.
first, when your parent passes
I
away.
heard it here. I heard it here. First time I danced at a club. Yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely have those list of different songs that have
sure.
reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Um, we touched on this. You also like being behind the camera. You directed work such as Rebel Zone, Poetry Film, Fanny How, PSAs for HIV/AIDS prevention with much music, and Worth Every Minute. Uh, Other than what you mentioned, can you expand on what attracts you to being on the director chair on the director chair?
Yeah, I just want to be clear too, is I would never like, so I have a lot of friends who are filmmakers, and I would never call myself a filmmaker, but I have made films. I had,
Okay.
so what happens for me is when there's something that's really truly important to me as an issue or something pops up and I feel like I can visualize how to make that
Okay.
work, that's where I go. For instance, for me, because I so much of my history is on Queen Street and everything that was going on in Queen Street at the time and all the other artists that were a part of the street, that was really fascinating for
Yeah.
me. So that I focused on that
In the
because I
film.
knew that.
Beautiful. Okay, so it has to be a passion project rather than going out to look for
Yeah.
a film to make. Okay.
Yeah, and the last project I was involved in actually had a really great, she was a master documentary filmmaker, Shelley Saywell,
Okay.
and we did a project called Low Down Tracks, which was, it took us 2.5 years to do, which was about unhoused buskers on the street, and we followed their stories. And I was a part of that film with her, but she directed it, but we together sort of, unfolded these stories. And that was a really important piece for me because homelessness has always been something at the forefront of my
Thank
mind,
you. Thank you.
and now, of course, it's so out of control in
But
so
thank you
many
for
ways.
caring because that's homelessness and feeding people are two of my
Yeah.
stories in the world. Yeah. Um, I'm just gonna mention this. I'm gonna wrap up this section. Lorraine has like an arm length of different other awards and accolades and accomplishments. So try to find the biography, check it out. It's really fantastic work. And we're gonna take a short break, and we're gonna be right back with Lorraine Segato. So don't go anywhere.
Life's in the smile on the face of the baby, feeling the love in her mama's arms. It's in the warm cup of tea, soothing you by the window while you look out as the snow falls. Life's in your pup, curling up on your lap when you sit down to relax at the end of your day. It's in this big enchanting earth, our home to love. It's merry and it's gay. Life's in me, it's in you, in everything we feel and we speak and everything we do. Life is good, it's divine, and together we make it better.
And we are back with Lorraine Segato, iconic singer, and so much more. Um, let's talk in this last part of the show. We talk more about the person. So, get to know you. So, born, upbringing, home life. You said Hamilton, big family.
No, not big family. I'm im the child of two Italian immigrants who came to Hamilton, and they met actually in Hamilton and
Oh,
married
how
in
cool.
Hamilton. We're a small family, my sister and myself,
Okay.
and our family. And I think I may have mentioned to you, my father just passed away, so now there's
Yeah.
three of us
Sorry.
left. Um, but Hamilton was a tough,
I was gonna say back then.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was
I can
really
only
tough.
imagine.
It was a steel town.
Yeah.
I'm a Hamtown girl, and working class, a lot of working class,
Yeah.
working class people in Hamilton, right? And that's where I was born and raised, and sort of cut my teeth on where I learned how to be tough,
Okay.
because like when we were kids, I used to always get kind of beaten up because I was Italian. Um,
It's
but
usually a mom.
I learned to stick up for myself there, you
Okay.
had to kind of learn how to stick up for yourself. So
Were you the quiet one in school, the clown, the funny one?
I was the troublemaker. No,
Troublemaker.
I don't know if I was the troublemaker. My dad would say I was very curious, kind of like a monkey. I was always kind of, going here and there and
And you
just
liked
really
English, but you did
interested.
not excel in the other topics. So we got that. We got that.
Yeah, I tried though. It wasn't like I didn't try. I did try. Um, but
You know what?
I was
I
very
don't know
social.
if what we learn in school is always an indication of the rest of what we're gonna do in our lives, sort of thing.
Yeah.
The
Well,
different we think. Yeah.
I do think I have to say, I do think because watching how hard it was for my immigrant parents and for myself as I was growing up, I think that understanding that kind of bullying and that kind of a life, where you feel oppressed by everybody's
Okay.
cliches about you, really, that was the thing that clicked into me around, I think, wanting to be an activist. I wanted to be a voice for those who couldn't have a voice and
I
feel like,
relate. I
when
definitely
something
relate.
bad, something good could come out of it, and it did for me.
Funny, so, there's a passion project that I'm doing musically called Never Giving Up, and it's in the space of bullying. And somebody asked me, also talked on TikTok about turning the experience of being bullied, but at home also and at school. And why did I become like this? I said because I could have either become anger and bitter, or took that
Right.
and decided to create a better world.
I have said the exact same thing, which
Yeah,
is there is two choices here. It's like you become the thing that oppresses you, and so you end up bullying others, or
yeah,
you take that and you turn it into something else.
lovely. And I'm glad that you did. Um, current home life, pets, etc. Where are you living? In Toronto? Where are you now?
No pets.
No,
I was living on Toronto Island for a while, and then I went
on
back
the
to look
island.
after my father, who had dementia, and to look after my mother during pandemic times. So,
Wow.
so I went from Toronto Island. I went back to Hamilton to help them take care of them, and I lived in Dundas for a while. And now I've just moved out to Port Hope.
Really? Oh, you're on my side. We're in Pickering, Durham, so
Now
that's
Pickering,
yeah,
yeah,
that's my head
yeah,
office.
Port
Yeah.
Hope.
I actually one of our team members lives there. Fantastic, fantastic area.
Beautiful little town.
Yeah, yeah. Very creative, very
Yes, lots of creative
yeah.
people up that way. And I notice, well, a lot of Toronto expats.
The way we finish the show is we ask some like quick questions and just whatever comes to mind.
Okay.
Okay,
Am
so
I, should I be scared?
no, not at all. Your favorite color? Is that scary?
My favorite color is that beautiful, it's a cross between purple and blue.
Oh, I like
You
that.
see in the sky, it's purple and blue. It's
That's interesting. Cool.
shimmery. Yeah.
Cool. Flower,
Flower. I love tulips.
tulips, beautiful. Season of the year.
Fall.
Okay. That's a lovely season to pick. Idea of a perfect vacation.
Looking out, so my friend whose place I'm in here has a beautiful cottage up on the Kawartha Lakes there, Stony Lake, that I
I love
go up
that
to
area.
visit. And looking out from that deck onto the stillness of the lake in a beautiful morning, that's my perfect.
You definitely have we definitely have kinship. A lot of people like the big travel. Me just put me in the middle of nature with the lake.
Yeah, yeah, nature,
Yeah,
anywhere where I can see a beautiful tree
that's
or something
so
like
cool.
that.
You've traveled? Have you
Yes.
traveled a lot? Okay. What's your favorite spot you traveled to?
Well, there are many places I haven't been yet, so it's probably it's going to be
Still to
my
come?
favorite place is going to be the next one, but I always feel like Italy is one of my favorite places.
You've
Sicily,
been?
one of my
Awesome.
favorite places.
We do have a bit of blood of Italian blood in our family. I was telling an Italian woman that I met last week at an event. I was telling her that some of our family went for a pilgrimage to the south of Italy to discover where our roots are.
Oh yeah, where are you? So my roots are in the north, but
No,
I
we're
love
we're
the south.
definitely we're definitely south, yeah. So yeah, my mom didn't go with my uncles, etc., etc. Have you watched any TV shows or movies recently that you'd recommend?
Oh,
If
that's
not,
a
we can
hard
move.
one.
Okay.
So many.
Yeah, okay.
Next,
All right.
next
That's okay.
question.
Okay, so you do watch a lot of okay, cool. Favorite cuisine.
Cuisine?
Favorite cuisine,
Oh,
yeah.
I love anything Mediterranean. Like it's Greek, Italian, Spanish,
Cool.
like
Yeah, all right.
anything in
That
that
area is
wheelhouse.
my kind of people, being Lebanese myself. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, Lebanese food too.
right?
Like that, love that.
Do you cook?
Yes.
Okay. What dish you make that we all should be invited to your place to eat, and we shouldn't miss it?
Well, any pasta I do real. But
Oh yeah, Italian, of course.
this particular one has sausage and fennel and rigatoni and a beautiful
Oh,
cream sauce with tomato in it. It's
stop.
beautiful. Fennel is the key there.
Sounds cool. Okay, everyone, we're invited to Lorraine Segato after the show. Uh, what's one food you tried but you'd never eat again?
Liver.
Yeah, really? Okay. I know it's not a favorite of people, but it's for some reason it reminds me of some stuff that mom used to make, and I kind of get it.
You know, there are people who really
Love
love
it, right?
liver.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, what's okay, you have an open weekend, nothing to do at all. What would you do? Stare at a lake.
I would, well, an open weekend with nothing to do. I would
Yeah.
take a book, I'd sit in the park, and I would,
Oh, I love
yeah,
it.
look at the tree and
Very
just
lucky.
relax.
If you could have, very cliche, if you could have dinner with anybody in the world from across history, who would it be and why?
Mm. I'd be interested in meeting Frida Kahlo.
What an interesting choice. Yeah, I think that would be a
I
cool
don't know that she would be interested in me, but
conversation.
I love her. I had somebody gave me her art journals,
Okay.
and I would just have so many
No, I think
questions.
it'd be a fantastic conversation. What a great
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah.
Um, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
To to bring equality to the whole world. That's kind of like saying peace on earth, right? Or
It's all right.
you know,
We can
that thing
dream. We
that
can
people
dream.
say at the beauty pageants, world peace.
What is the best advice you've received?
I have a friend who's a really well-known or was a really successful real estate agent, and he never promoted himself. He just always had, you know, people kept coming back to him, and I said to him, "What is the secret of your success? Because you're not like any other real estate person I know." And he said, "I show up, I tell the truth, and I don't become attached to the outcome." And I've taken that
Oh,
as my mantra. I've
that is
that
brilliant.
as my mantra over the last, 15 years, I'd say, where that's what I try to do. I'm not saying I do it all the time, but I love it so much. It's like not becoming attached to
That's
something, but
brilliant.
just showing up and knowing that I put everything I can do at this moment on the table like that, you know?
That's a beautiful way to be. Good for your friend. Um, what's the last question? What's the number one thing you wish that people knew about you?
Gosh, that's a really good question. What do I wish they knew about me?
We all have something that I feel that we present to the world, whatever, but there's some stuff that
Yeah, I guess that I'm deeply sensitive
that's a
to
be-
other people's feelings,
that's a
I
great
guess.
thing to be, I think, and that's a wonderful thing to let the people know that to share with. Uh, thank you for being on the show. I,
Thank you so much for having
I
me.
really appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed your time.
I did.
Beautiful. And everyone, we'll see you at next episode. Lorraine Segato. Social media and stuff. Are you on social media? Are you anywhere to be found?
I am on Instagram and I am on I just don't do, you know what?
You
I don't
don't.
do a lot of it, but I'm there
Really
everywhere, but I
awesome.
just don't go
Honestly,
do it.
it feels like I'm again interviewing a lot of artists and being surrounded with a lot of artists. It feels like part of the job right now is to be a content creator on social media, and a lot of
Yeah.
artists say we did not sign on for this. So
Yeah. You know, I'm so glad you said that because I feel really bad that I don't respond to messages and all of that. But I
no, I
know
don't
that
feel.
what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create.
Uh,
And that takes so much time, right?
it does take a lot of effort. You're expected somehow to find posts to post every day in order not to be forgotten. That's the kind of pressure that will kill art.
I'm just going to assume I'm going to be forgotten, but people like you keep
No.
reminding me that I'm
Okay.
not. And I thank you for that.
Pleasure. And with that, everyone, we'll see you soon. Take good care, love yourself, and I love you.